If you're Albert Pujols, this is a serious question. Now, you know my theory. I believe Major League Baseball introduced some livelier baseballs to get themselves a good story with him coming down the stretch. I think it's pretty odd that the guy suddenly now beats out Aaron Judge for the most home runs since August 10th in all of baseball. If you're him, though, and you've suddenly turned back the clock, wouldn't you want to not retire after this?
Yes.
Like, you might be leaving 35 home runs on the board if you do this again next year, although I think those baseballs would get a little deader, but that's just my conspiracy theory.
Got the DH.
As far as Pujols' dominance against the Pirates, he's hit almost I think it's over 8% of his career home runs against the Bucks, 57 of 703. The guy went to the American League for a while. If he had stayed in the NL and seen the Pirates in division his whole career, I kid you not, he probably would have over 100 home runs against them. And so therefore, he probably cost himself the all-time home run crown by actually signing with the Angels. Because if he could have seen that much more Pirates pitching, this is not a joke. The guy's got like an 1,130 OPS against them for his career. I firmly believe he'd be over 750. I am I am extremely serious as I say that to you right now.
99 runs batted in 101 games played. That's one per game. I mean, that's pretty amazing stuff. All right, time to go to the phone calls. Let's get out there. It's the Border Hotline. We'll begin with Jeff in South Park, who's our Go One Better, number one Cochran leadoff call of the night. Number one Cochran, Go One Better. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, guys. I know a lot of people are writing off the Steelers season because this Jets game kind of felt do or die. It was one of the more winnable games on the schedule, and now you got the Murderer's Row portion coming up. But I'll tell you what, I'm not ready to write them off yet. I know these next 4 games look awful, but now that Pickett's in there and they're committing to him for the rest of the season, if he really ends up playing that much better than Mitch Trubisky, maybe by some miracle they go 2-2 in that stretch, and then I could see them winning 8 games. And if they win 8 games, then they're only 1 win, play here or there from going 9 wins. And then Tomlin might be looking back on regrettably not going to Pickett sooner. The offense will grow together with him. And then the defense, I do think, will get better because they'll play complementary football with the offense. I mean, they are missing a lot with Watt. It's $28 million of the $108 million. I keep hearing that number thrown around.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, it can't be that one guy. I know how good he is, but still, you got to play better than that, and other people have got to step up in his absence. As far as not writing off the season, I would never do that because I've been around sports too much, and listen, they're 1 game out. If Kenny Pickett comes in and delivers and makes this offense better and much better than maybe we thought it could be, because quite frankly, the receivers have not been good. If he gives them the jolt, they all of a sudden score 28 points, on average 26 a game, and his defense fuels it because of that. I could see strange things happening, but it's going to be a daunting assignment given what's coming up next, especially in Buffalo and Tampa Bay, Chris.
Yeah, these are 2 excellent defenses they've got to deal with. Buffalo in Buffalo, they've played a couple stinkers in a row and still won one of them on the road against the Ravens, thanks to some more interesting John Harbaugh probability work. But that might be the best team in the NFL, still top to bottom. The Bucs, I know, they got Mahomes. It happens. That Bucs defense is still a really good group. I am going to write the season off just because I think it's far more likely that they're 1-7 after these next 4 games than what Jeff said there, which is more of a rosy 3-5 and maybe get on a run. And you know what? Let me just say this for the record. I'm not saying that anybody here in this town where the standard is the standard, and the standard really has been almost unquestioned competitiveness and at times excellence for a long time, Bob. Maybe being one of the worst 5 to 7 teams in the NFL wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for them, at least record-wise, because they could really use a top 5 or so pick where they could draft like a franchise cornerstone type of tackle. Somebody where you're picking at the top of every round in the rest of the draft. And so you've got more access to more good players and can rebuild this thing on the fly. Deontay Johnson said the verboten word today. Hey, we're a rebuilding team. This is a rebuilding year for us. We know that they hate that up at Mike Tomlin offices, but it's also closer to true than not.
But if they're going to get that 5, between 5 and 10, whatever the pick may be, if that's how it turns out, they got to make sure that it is a home run. Lately they've been not doing that. If you look at, offensive line, Kendrick Green last year was a starting center. Now he can't even get on the field.
What about Najee Harris, who's a first-round back?
Right. I keep saying Jaylen Warren looks better to me. I mean, if you didn't know who was who, You're going to say to yourself, Jalen Warren has more explosiveness to the hole.
Yeah, other than ball security, I think Harris has looked like the inferior back. We know Warren's put it on the ground. I don't put that pitch play on him at all. That was on Pickett yesterday too. But I wonder about their draft strategy with Harris. I think they have neglected more than anything else, Bob. I think they've neglected the offensive line.
Yeah.
I do think they went and tried, like you get Leal, I think you're trying to get deeper on the defensive front, but they really need to address this offensive line because even though it's been passable, better than people thought, it still isn't close to good enough or talented enough.
Let's go to Paul in Tarentum, who joins us on the Borders and Borders hotline. Hello, Paul. Go right ahead.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Chris.
Hey.
First of all, Bob, I want to congratulate you. I know it's kind of late, but I want to congratulate you on your 40 years here in Pittsburgh.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You are top notch. You really are.
I just try to have fun, and these guys over here on the 93.7 side are like the Kenny Pickett fuel that fuels people like me. So I'm happy to be part of that. Seriously, you keep it going.
Well, yeah. My point is that what upsets me more about the Steelers' defensive line is the fact that the Jets had, 5 or 4 left tackles, and one got hurt yesterday.
Terrible.
So they're on their 5th left tackle, and for some reason, I can't understand why they could not, bull rush these guys and exploit this situation even more.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point, and Chris, I couldn't believe it either. You talked earlier about no blitzing. This offensive line was just falling apart. They had inexperienced people. This is a quarterback who hadn't played all year. Yes, he has an arm if you give him time, but still, they should have been very aggressive from the outset with them.
Yeah, I think I'll chalk it up to arrogance, too. I think Mike Tomlin looks at this and says, I can rush 4 against this bad offensive line, drop 7 or whatever, and just make life difficult on Zach Wilson. I'm sorry. You play your cover 2 or you play your zone defense against any quarterback in this league, any of them. And if they have time to throw, they are eventually going to find receivers who sit down in soft parts of the zone or beat your guys one-on-one. And that's what Wilson and those receivers, Davis and Wilson, did.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to check in with Ken Rice over at KDKA Studios about what's coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. We'll try to squeeze in a call after that. Chris, hang on. We'll take a break and come back with that right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're here 7 nights a week on Pittsburgh CW.